report over an intercepted document. They call it the MCC document. Is it privatization or concession for the ECG, etc.? Are you very much privy to that very information?
It's a hearsay.
Okay, good. But the Trade Union Congress has already come out with a statement reiterating its stance against plans to privatize the electricity company of Ghana. And they continue that the private arrangement of the privatization arrangement is one of the conditions under which the U.S. government is extending some 500 or nearly 500 million US dollars to help address Ghana's energy sector. And the TUC says privatization is not the answer of the ECG, they mean, and that government should rather inject some efficiency into ECG's operations and ensure the institution gets all the inputs it requires to work.
Clearly, why was EGC set up? Why was VRA set up? In those days, when you and I were in secondary or elementary schools, learning about SOEs, state-owned enterprises, and the reason for establishing SOEs, what were we told? What did your econs teacher tell you in secondary school? That state-owned enterprises are established due to certain strategic nature for national securities. Was that not what we were told? And I think when it comes to strategic positions of SOEs, ECG will be number one, because it energizes all the national sectors. So clearly speaking, if there are clearly plans to privatize ECG, whoever is pushing for it, I may not buy into it. What is $500 million, Roland?
You have a lot of money. I didn't know that.
500
million, it's peanuts.
To Ghana. If you check the national asset of Ghana, what is 500 million?
You mean our GDP?
Yes. What is 500 million? Check our national resources. Sovereign Ghana, what is 500 million?
We don't have it. That's what we're going for.
What we told you we don't? Okay, Roland, let's be very careful when we are trading in terms of ECG. The amount of jobs that ECG alone creates and the output per those sectors, those that may not be able to operate in the event that ECG is privatized, will be uncountable. Therefore, any move, you remember when it happened that even the management of Ghana Water was going to be privatized. You remember those days?
Yes.
What didn't we see? And because it was just the management too.
Well, we've had bad experiences. We've had Ghana Telecom, we've had Aquavitins run for Ghana Water Company, etc.
The telecom industry is just a different thing, all right. As a matter of fact.
No, still, it was still, the management was not up to
exactly. But you see, Ghanaians, is because of, all we need is attitudinal change. It is not a matter of privatizing. If they privatize it, it's just a matter of downsizing the number of people who work there. But it's Ghanaians who will still be working there. But they'll cut down, and most Ghanaians are going to be jobless. Is that what we call the efficiency in management? Okay. We have expert Ghanaians who can manage ECG very well.
But that very phrase.
It's a matter of
But that very phrase, efficiency in management, and if you learn adequately the structures and the various segments of management, there
was a coach.
You know.
Let me tell you, there was a football coach.
You know adequately.
Let me tell you, there was a football coach. I know where you are coming
from. That having a lean corporation ensures that there's efficiency. And that is not disputed in any management book at all.
That is one of the, that's where I was coming to, and you didn't allow me to land.
No, you can start with your coach.
I started by saying that there was a football coach who called the player that, Kwesi, come and play for Blaster. The player himself did
that should be a Ghana coach.
The player himself did not have confidence in himself that he could play for Blaster at that time. Coach, are you sure? No, I'm the coach. Come and play. Coach, are you sure? I'll be allowed to play in Blaster. The coach, oh, Kwesi, you could come. I'm the coach. Come and play. That's what happens to public sector. So we ourselves, it's not a matter of privatizing ECG. If we ourselves are careful of the kind of people that we are recruited to work in ECG, that will solve the problem. Downsizing the number, like you rightly say, it's a way out. But ECG, I may be able to tell you that maybe it's overstaffed. I don't know the number now. But per what happens to most public sectors, it may be overstaffed. Then what considerations or what due diligence is made when people are being recruited to work in ECG? These are some of the things. What happens when you know that your next door neighbor have light but without a meter? Who do you report to? These are some of the... So there is clearly management problem in ECG. I will not disagree with that. So that is where attention has to be drawn to. But if you say because of that, we should privatize ECG, my people in my constituency, in Bana, may be facing difficulty in terms of...
Banda, don't you fall under the Northern Power Authority?
But if ECG is privatized, where are we moving to?
But
it's not net.
No, but at what point do you think that perhaps we need to call a spade a spade? For decades, we've had management of ECG do the things they do the same way. Now we're going to access this very grant. And we're told that before you can get access, and for the very sector for which you want to invest that money in, you need efficiency. And the foremost institution that will be held responsible is the ECG, and after an audit, it's been determined. And these intercepted documents indicate that the privatization is on, and actually options have even been given.
I said that if they say privatization, the privatization is not an option. If it is an option, there might be several options.
Yes, there have been various segments of the privatization.
But not automatic privatization.
Whether you want full management or you want concessions, etc. As far as that is concerned.
You see, multinational corporations do this through their various heads of state. That is why I'm more particular about this one.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that the government of the United States has been influenced by a multinational?
And why should it be coming from the States?
US?
That's my point.
Well, you're going to access their money.
That when we get there, these are questions that some of us are asked.
Well, incidentally, you're not part of the negotiation.
And I'm going to operate
incidentally, you're not part of the negotiation
I'll ask my Ghana government that.
Incidentally, you're not part of the negotiation team that went to negotiate.
But we are not there yet. But clearly speaking,
for the compact.
If I have a say, I have to start, and I've started saying it. Clearly speaking, even though we are in government, but privatizing ECG is something that we must mobilize ourselves, not for.
As Parliament, are you worried about this phenomenon?
I started hearing this last year. The whole year, it couldn't happen. And in Parliament, we don't anticipate a bill. When something is against our standing orders or our operational practices, that when something is bound to happen, you don't anticipate. You don't anticipate what will happen, then you start discussing it. You allow the thing to come. When it comes, then you start debating. But clearly speaking, this one, multinational corporations work through their various heads of state. So if Ghana see the need to privatize ECG, it shouldn't be the U.S. government who will come and say, I want to give you this, but privatize this one before I give it to you. But Roland, how many industries have been gone? How many factories have been gone? But what has been the change? You ask yourself. So what we need in Ghana, the hottest commodity we need in Ghana now is honesty. If Ghanaians, you and I, will be honest in the various sectors that we are working. I asked this question to one of my party members. Last year, when they were working in National Youth Employment, I asked him, I said, when you had the opportunity to work here, we were all warning you that take this work seriously and be honest and all those kind of things. You couldn't. Now see, the thing is, you have collapsed the system. So now you are in the house. So
you say a change of attitude?
A change of attitude. That's all. Don't say that because my government is this or this and this. Make sure the way I do my work. Look, I woke up around 5 o'clock. I set off. By 6 o'clock, I was in your office. I knew the program was about to set off at 7 o'clock. But I came very early. From here, I'm going straight to Parliament. But if all Ghanaians will work this way, and when I get to Parliament, I will get back to the house around 8 o'clock in the evening. It's government work. But who is the government? I'm the government. President Mama cannot be the president and the MP at the same time. He cannot be the president and the moderator at the same time. So, Roland, the way we perceive...
But you do understand that as a government, you need to take a decision. You are going to, access this very compact. And one of the conditionalities is that you have to make sure that where the money is going to be invested in, there could be good return on investment.
Government is not going to take it hook and sinker.
And you're saying it's not going to be a hook and sinker.
Government is not going to take it hook and sinker. Government will have to go and analyze it. There will be due diligence. This thing, that's why I think something that we don't anticipate.
We're told that this has been accepted already by government.
Oh, Roland. It started this year, we started hearing it last year, but we haven't seen the read yet. So we are yet to see him. By clearly speaking, it is not something that we all go for. But we are all calling for efficiency in the management of our electricity corporation. Even this load shedding and all those kind of things. The way things are managed. Roland, certain heads. You remember when somebody said in the previous administration, heads will roll. You remember all those kind of things? Ghanaians nearly called for the head of my good brother. But at certain point, you need to be harsh or you need to strike hard on some of those people in certain management positions. It's not only politicians. Until we started doing that, we will not see what we need. If all concentration or decision taking, you will take the decision, but somebody will have to implement the decision. How many ministers see the budget that is given to them? You are a minister, you take the decision, but the actual implementation and disbursement of the funds is done by those who are under you. So for you to be able to take critical decisions, certain performance bonds and all of this at certain management positions will have to be taken, else will not be there. It's not a matter of just privatization.
So you're saying that privatization is not going to happen, as being speculated?
Oh, it is not. We started hearing it last year.
Okay. Very soon also, the Ghana IMF program will be finalized. But it means that we have to come back to Parliament.
IMF or you're talking of?
Ghana IMF program.
You know?
But it means that we have to come back to Parliament to realign our budgets. Is that not how it is?
That is.
So we call it a supplementary? Because we can't issue a new budget.
In our standing orders, I've gone through the standing order. I haven't seen a reviewed budget anywhere. So I've heard some members, some people talking about reviewed.
At what point do we, it may not be termed in terms of terminology review, but when a government brings a supplementary budget, it just wants some realignment of the line items on the budget. Is that not the understanding?
No, the understanding is that, you know, this budget came out in November 2014. Clearly speaking, some of us, they were just trying to match the financial year to start from 1st January. But some of us, even though with my A-level economist, I don't agree with the financial aspect when it comes to some of those things. I will normally say, let's get to the year, let's pass the year before you know what happens. Then you start your budget. Some of us were of the view that the budget.
I don't get you. You mean you start
previously
for a certain expenditure year. You start the year before you plan. Is that what you're saying?
The planning, by 31st December. You know, when we were passing the budget in November, all the provisions were made up to September.
Sure. You mean in terms of
October,
the estimates,
November,
and whatever
December,
variables or data that will be used?
The actuals were up to September.
Sure.
So September.
Well, that's budget for you.
Exactly. That's where my problem comes to.
Because then you need to balance.
So the last quarter are just projections.
So that's why we come for the.
And the projections are the fundamentals. So if those projections fails, it means the whole year you are not going to get the foundation is shaking. So you are not going to get a correct superstructure. So all that we needed to do at that time was that when you are ending the year by 31st December, Parliament has the power to do what we call vote on account. We could have voted for this 2 months or 1 month money for what the money the government.
And how will government spend it? Just go on a spree.
Election year we do it.
Go on a spree and spending.
No,
is
Parliament gives you.
Is that not why at the end of the year we record huge overruns?
No.
You just go around spending. That's what you're saying.
No. We give you.
What did you call it?
Vote on account.
Vote on account.
Yes, it's Parliament.
So almost like an impress. Use it in the meantime.
We give you 2 million. Use 2 million for January.
We do understand. We do understand. But based on what?
Based on you bring how you are going to use the 2 million. Maybe compensation. This and this. It's like a budget, but it's not a true budget.
Vote on account.
Exactly. A proper.
Yes. Almost like an impress. I mean, just in the late term.
Exactly.
But of course, based on certain items.
Exactly. So now,
why don't you just do the budget when you come back later? You come for realign.
We did it, and look at what has happened. We are in January. We are going to bring another budget.
But realistically, you know that because we have difficulties trying to realign our estimates because of the poor revenues we're getting, or perhaps expenditure patterns as a result vis-a-vis the ratio of whatever revenue it was we're getting. We knew that the IMF was coming in, and so definitely the budget would have to be taken a look at.
You need to be certain.
Which is certain? When you know that the IMF program was ongoing.
Really speaking, these were some of the problems. So when we knew that we had not finalized the deal with the IMF, and that was going to be part of our fundamentals. Clearly speaking, Roland, some of us were of the view. I'm not an economist, but per man A-level economist, and looking at the critical situation that we were in at that time, we thought giving something in the form of vote on account so that we give the government and the Minister for Finance is economic thing.
So you give government 1 billion, go and spend for 2 months, and by March we'll get the budget ready for it to be approved. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. That was my position.
All right.
And so now we are going to spend another money to prepare another budget. Budget preparation, the Minister for Finance.
That's supplementary.
It's not. From January?
No.
Supplementary from
no, listen.
The name it
no,
is
listen.
supplementary,
yes.
but it will be
yes,
involved.
But the terminology is supplementary. It's a supplementary budget.
It's a supplementary budget, but it will be involving.
But almost like a new budget, a new realignment.
My brothers are going to suffer like they suffered last year. They are going to suffer again.
Who?
The Minister for Finance and his team. Preparing the budget, those times they don't sleep. They hardly slept.
I'm sure they've ready themselves for it because they knew that negotiations with the IMF were not completed.
In fact, it's not a good atmosphere for them at all.
Okay.
They are going to work under pressure.
Some few days ago, I believe for the last couple of weeks, there have been speculations that the presidency and some of his appointees were not communicating or aligning themselves properly. And so we're told that some people will lose their jobs or some people will decide to quit. And ultimately, yesterday there was a statement that indicated that Dr. Atuguba, as well as Benduche Malo, special communication advisor to the president, apparently had ended their terms, 2 years and a year respectively. Just confirming the speculations that all is not well at the presidency.
No, Roland, if that one is said, I will not agree. The president said, I gave them contract. The contract has ended. So why do you link this one with the speculation? Why do you have to link it up with the speculation that people have been saying? When Atuguba was given his job, who gave it to him? Per the Constitution, it was the presidency. Dochema law, it was the presidency. I gave you 1 year, I gave you 2 years. Come and do specific job for me. They've come, they've been able to implement what the president has given unto them. They've accomplished their job, and they've ended it. Then all that we have to look at is where are they going after ending their job? Was it subject to renewal, or is it another area that the president wants them to go and perform certain functions for him? So this.
Do you think their contract should have been renewed, or they should have been perhaps urged to stay on?
You see, government is in such a way that it's you, the president. That's what the Constitution has given you, that power of appointment. You decide what you need at any time. The president knew what they were doing there for him. So if they have finished, maybe he is in need of their services at certain place, then he's sending them there. As for renewing their contracts and all those kind of things, you know there's a total transformation going on in the government. Where is the former Minister for Information? The Minister of Information in its totality, where is it? So if you were brought as an informational advisor or something, and the entire Minister of Information now is in non-existence, even Ghanaians will question you. If the ministry itself is not there, what is Benduche Male also doing there? So I think it's
but they are not the two are not the same.
They may not be the same, but information is information. Now they've combined information and communication. The Minister for Information and his deputy are no more. Why haven't Ghanaians asked about that? So clearly speaking,
there's been the speculation that all is not well.
No, but you know, politics is all about politicians who speculate.
So you think that's just
it's
politics?
Not every Ghanaian. In political science, we call that box a black box. So all others who are outside the black box will speculate. You cannot do away with speculation in politics. But those speculations are not the reality. And even within the political party itself, it's not, you and I, you know, it's not everybody who will get the opportunity to be inside the black box and know what is happening there. So speculation will happen. But as for this, the reality is that...
So they were in the black box?
They were in the black... They were inside the presidency. They were inside the box.
They were feeling the heat, you mean?
Exactly. They were in the engine room, the strong room, as you can call it, in political science.
And I'm asking you,
it's
the black box, as you are referring to, is there heat in the... Was there heat in the black box? Is there still heat in the black box?
Clearly speaking, in politics, you are always on the run because your opponent is chasing you. So there is no way that the black box will ever be cool. You are always cracking your brain day and night after 24 hours and this. You are always on the run. So if somebody tells you that, Roland, it was cool, it has never been cool from Kwame Nkrumah time up till now. So nobody should say that there was infighting, there was this and there was that.
You're saying they are all speculation?
No, those speculations.
Not true.
Exactly. That's why
pure politics.
You ask yourself, what exactly?
Pure politics.
Why should this statement come out if it was not just to disprove the critics that, oh, all that you are saying is wrong. This man came to perform a function he has finished. And therefore, this and this. And the entire Ministry of Information.
So all these are mischief. By who?
Roland, there are certain words, if you check Mankalba, there are certain words I normally don't want churning them out. But all I'm saying is that the government, entire government, is going through systemic transformation. The Ministry of Information is not existent. And therefore, once that is not existent, anybody who had something to do with that, even you remember people ask, what is Dochemale doing together with Ayariga? Those days Ayariga was the Minister for Information, you remember? You understand? So now, it's like the president has joined the entire Ministry of Information together with the Ministry of Communication. And there is only one deputy doing that information aspect. There's one deputy doing the communication aspect. And the Honorable Manebuama is capable of even doing all this. So now you realize that even the lean government that you people are talking of is not happening, and you are also talking.
Who
you know the generality of Ghana we're talking of whom? Downsize the government is too big, the size of government for the country is too big. Therefore, let's make sure that we have a lean government. Now government is bringing lean government. He's joining two ministries together. He's making sure that he's strategically repositioning certain personalities.
We don't like it.
And you don't like it.
Well, thank you very much. Ahmed Ibrahim is a member of parliament for Banda in the Bonafu region, but he's also the deputy majority whip. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, so now we're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more for you on the show.